We are talking today with Peter Hendrick, who's the Executive Director of the American Association of Radon Scientists. Peter, could you please let us know a little bit about radon? Why is it a threat?
Well, radon is a colorless, odorless, radioactive gas, and it's a threat because it comes up through the ground. It's a naturally occurring gas, and as it decays, it releases radioactivity, which, when we breathe, enters our lungs. And unfortunately, this happens in homes and businesses.
What is EPA and the federal government doing to combat radon?
Well, in 1988, the EPA passed the Indoor Radon Abatement Act, and that act was designed to lower levels of indoor air levels of radon to make them the equivalent of what we find in the outdoor air, which is relatively at a safe level. And they set an action level of, in the units of measurement, 4 picocuries per liter of air to get it well below that. And today we can get that level down in homes when they're retrofitted or mitigated to levels well below 2 picocuries per liter of air, a significant risk reduction.
How big is a picocurie?
How big is a picocurie? Well, it's that's an interesting thing because we can't see it, but what it is it's a release of a radioactive element as the gas decays. And so you take a liter of air. We can't see this, it's so small. But those little alpha particles, radon progeny or daughters, when we breathe them into our lungs, they hit some very sensitive cells in the lungs, and it's like a sledgehammer going off. And that can actually cause lung cancer. And so that's what we're really worried about. It causes 21,000 deaths per year on the latest estimates by the Surgeon General, the EPA, and the National Institute for Sciences.
Where is radon the greatest threat?
Well, it's located throughout the United States. We have a map that is color-coded, and we have some states, California, Oregon, where it appears the map indicates there's a low level, but really the only way to be sure is to test your home and then fix it, and you really end up saving a life. So it's ubiquitous. It's found just about everywhere. We have some places that are much more severe, certain parts of the Midwest, Pennsylvania, Guam, even one of the US territories where we have very high levels. But we've also found high levels in homes in states where you wouldn't expect to find radon. So the only way to be sure is to test.
What are states doing to address radon in schools and buildings and new construction?
That's a good question. The EPA program is voluntary. It's voluntary for a Class A carcinogen. So states have played an active role from the beginning days. We have states that have very active regulatory programs where they regulate the testers and mitigators. We have states such as Illinois, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Nebraska, Kansas. We have states that have very active outreach programs thanks to grants from the US EPA. So states that where it's not regulated, there's still an active effort to educate the public and to test at the time of home sale and home occupancy. Other states have programs to inform local communities about what to do with radon in schools, and we've developed model codes for how to deal with new construction so that we build homes so that radon, the gas, doesn't enter the home in the first place.
What would be a state legislator's most important thing that they could do to combat radon in housing?
I think it's really to improve, if we're going to stay with a voluntary model, we don't require testing in this country, but we really want to encourage testing. The gold standard would be if we could pass laws where we required a radon test at the time of home sale. That would be a gold medal. But today, I think we would feel equally successful with a silver medal in having people notified at the time they sign a purchase and sale agreement. So if we notify the buyer It does a number of things. It allows them to ask for a test to make sure that they're not going to suffer from this risk.
Finally, what are the main points from your speech this morning that you would like to convey to state legislators?
I think state legislatures can take a new look at this. It's been over 24 years since the passage of the Indoor Radon Abatement Act, and they really have a major role to play. So I would ask them to take a look at specific laws that have been passed in the state of Illinois within the last 2 years, having to do with radon notification, radon awareness, laws relating to radon in schools in Illinois, laws relating to renters and building codes in Maine and Minnesota. These provide some real new modern tools, legislative and policy tools, that don't impact necessarily the real estate industry, proactive, and really can see some significant health risk reductions when it comes to radon, something that causes lung cancer and something we can't see, smell, or taste. And I would say that we really should be addressing this notification issue and the issue of radon in schools. We have 70,000 classrooms. Unfortunately, we don't know where they are.